And then he said something, very grave, like, maybe there won't be a Bruce Lee. And I thought, what are you talking about?
In my opinion, I think my last name is Lee, Bruce Lee. I was born in San Francisco in 1940.
Bruce Lee, the talented actor and martial arts expert, died in Hong Kong on July 20th, 1973, at the age of 32. However, the reasons behind his death are still debated to this day, leaving fans with more questions than answers. His untimely death occurred just 6 days before the premiere of his iconic film, Enter the Dragon, a movie that was poised to catapult him into becoming a true Hollywood star. But how come such a powerful man, whom many believed was an immortal superhuman, could have died so early and so unexpectedly? Rumors and speculations rose in Hong Kong, with whispers of hidden family secrets, the possible involvement of a woman, and drug-related issues, yet none have unveiled the real cause of his death. So in this video, we'll reveal exactly what happened that day. In 1973, Bruce Lee, his wife Linda, and their children, Shannon and Brandon, spent the first half of the year in Hong Kong, where Bruce was busy with 2 big movies, completing Enter the Dragon and shooting the new film, Game of Death. The producer of those 2 films was Raymond Chow, founder of Golden Harvest, a popular film production company based in Hong Kong. Raymond and Bruce were not only business associates, but also close friends. Around 4:30 a.m., on the morning of July 20th, Bruce Lee woke up. His routine began with his usual morning exercises, which lasted about 45 minutes. It included stretching exercises to enhance flexibility, cardiovascular training performed on a stationary bike he had crafted himself, dedicated practice sessions for Jeet Kune Do, and a structured weightlifting program. His mornings were intense but never too exhaustive. At roughly 10:30 a.m., Bruce Lee made his way to the iconic Golden Harvest Studios. His mission? To dive headfirst into scripting Game of Death, alongside his dear friend, Raymond Chow. It's intriguing to note that during this creative session, Bruce consumed a small amount of hash, a substance he firmly believed expanded his cognitive horizons. While surprising to some, chewing cannabis was quite popular in Hong Kong during the prosperous 70s and 80s, particularly among the city's elite. At 1 p.m., Bruce drove his red Mercedes-Benz to 67 Beacon Hill Road. This was the residence of Ms. Betty Ting Pei, a 26-year-old Taiwanese actress introduced to Bruce by Raymond Chow. She lived in a 1-bedroom apartment, and she had secured a role in the upcoming film. Bruce's extramarital relationships were not widely known in Hong Kong. But here's the kicker. According to a book Betty wrote after Bruce Lee's death, their interaction that day involved sexual activity and the consumption of more hash. Later that evening, Bruce and Betty were scheduled to have dinner with Raymond Chow and George Lazenby, a Hollywood actor whom Bruce wanted to invite as a guest star in his upcoming film, Game of Death. It was roughly 6 p.m. when Bruce's evening took a turn for the worse, as he was struck by a severe headache and felt dizzy. At the same time, Raymond Chow had just arrived at Betty's apartment to pick up both Bruce and Betty for their scheduled dinner. As the minutes ticked by and it neared 7:30 p.m., Bruce's headache showed no signs of mercy. In an attempt to provide relief, Betty administered an Equagesic pill, a prescription pain medication, and Bruce expressed his desire to take a nap and rest. At 7:45 p.m., Raymond Chow proceeded to the dinner with George Lazenby alone, as they agreed Bruce and Betty would join them once Bruce's condition improved. In the time frame of 8:15 to 9:30 p.m., Raymond made 2 calls to Betty from the restaurant. He was inquiring about their arrival for the dinner. On the first call, Betty informed Raymond that Bruce was asleep. The second time, she stated that Bruce was still sleeping but assured Raymond that he would be awakened shortly. Following this, Betty attempted to wake Bruce. She went into the bedroom beside the bed and called his name about 4 times and even shook him, but he remained unresponsive. In a state of fear, Betty reached out to Raymond once more, her voice trembling as she explained her inability to wake Bruce. In response to these disconcerting revelations, Raymond advised Betty to stay calm. He made the decision to personally investigate the situation. Upon his arrival at Betty's apartment, he found Bruce lying lifeless on her mattress, nearly naked, and showing no signs of breathing. Raymond sadly realized that it was too late. Bruce had passed away. In that critical moment, Raymond's mind was a whirlwind of conflicting emotions and thoughts. The most famous man in Hong Kong, a man of immense influence and power, had just passed away in the company of his mistress, and Raymond found himself, along with the mistress, as the sole witnesses to this scandalous event. First and foremost, shock and disbelief coursed through Raymond's thoughts. How had they ended up in this surreal situation, bearing witness to the untimely demise of a man who was a household name? The gravity of the moment weighed heavily on him. The scandal is about to consume them. The press will point fingers, and their careers may come crashing down, possibly leading to imprisonment. It was a moment fraught with uncertainty, fear, and a sense of impending doom as the enormity of what they had witnessed began to set in. It became increasingly evident that if Raymond's goal was to save Bruce Lee, the imperative was clear. Bruce must die elsewhere. Raymond promptly instructed Betty to call her personal physician, Dr. Chu, who could confirm Bruce's death. When Dr. Chu arrived, he attempted to revive Bruce for about 10 minutes, but had no success. During this time, Raymond communicated the gravity of the situation to Dr. Chu and pleaded with him to transport Bruce to the nearby Baptist hospital, where Dr. Chu was employed at the time, to limit the number of witnesses. However, Dr. Chu decided to call an ambulance instead, directing that the patient be taken to Queen Elizabeth Hospital, a more distantly located medical facility. The reasons for this decision are unclear but may relate to concerns about the scandal's impact on his workplace. In a race against time, it took approximately 7 minutes for the 2 paramedics and the ambulance driver to arrive at the scene around 10:30 p.m. The paramedics immediately assessed the situation and noticed Bruce's dire condition. He wasn't breathing, and they couldn't find a pulse. They sprang into action, performing CPR and providing artificial oxygen. But unfortunately, there was no improvement in the patient's status. Subsequently, the paramedics carefully carried Bruce into the waiting ambulance. Alongside them were Ramon Chow and Dr. Chu, hoping against hope. They rushed Bruce to Queen Elizabeth Hospital, but tragically, it proved to be too late. A little after 11:30 p.m., telephones across Hong Kong began to ring with the heartbreaking news. Bruce Lee, the martial arts legend, had passed away at the age of 32. The exact cause of death was initially unknown, casting a veil of confusion over his devoted fans, who found themselves in a state of disbelief. With anxious hearts, they awaited the break of a new day, hoping against hope for a different outcome. Sadly, the news persisted, setting off seismic shockwaves within the martial arts community, with many still grappling with disbelief. Through subsequent investigations and a comprehensive autopsy report, it was conclusively determined that the primary cause of Bruce Lee's demise was cerebral edema, a condition characterized by the swelling of the brain. While there was an initial attribution of his tragic death to an allergic reaction stemming from the administration of a painkiller by Betty, it was said that this was not his first time of consumption, and that there were no typical salicylate overdose signs or symptoms. It's essential to acknowledge the presence of multiple speculations and hypotheses. Furthermore, many sources also suggested that he was murdered. It was also rumored that the Lee family is under a curse that usually claims the lives of its male members at a young age, which contributes to the overarching narrative. Notably, the unexpected passing of Bruce's son, Brandon Lee, at the age of 28 on a film set, introduces an additional layer of complexity to the story. It's also crucial to explore the historical context of 1970s Hong Kong, where triad activities held sway over the film industry. 2 weeks before his death, Bruce threatened Lo Wei, who was reported to have mobster connections. Many theories also suggest that Bruce Lee's refusal to comply with protection payments may have incurred the wrath of the triads, thereby intensifying suspicions of possible poisoning. Certainly, there is no evidence of physical injury or poison in the autopsy report. Bruce Lee's death sent shockwaves across the world, and his funeral in Hong Kong drew an estimated crowd of 25,000 people. 3 days later, his wife, Linda, laid him to rest in Seattle, the place where their love story began and where they discovered their greatest happiness. This account unveils the true story behind Bruce Lee's untimely demise. Bruce Lee's influence remains profoundly significant to this day. He revolutionized the world of martial arts by challenging stereotypes and advocating for inclusivity through Jeet Kune Do, a philosophy emphasizing adaptability and the integration of various martial arts styles. his lasting impact extends to modern mixed martial arts. In the realm of cinema, Bruce Lee's classic films such as Enter the Dragon and Fists of Fury continue to captivate audiences, setting the standard for action and martial arts cinema. His charisma, innovative fight choreography, and commitment to portraying Asian characters with depth and dignity paved the way for greater diversity in Hollywood. Beyond his martial arts and film career, Bruce Lee's philosophy and words of wisdom, including his famous "be like water" metaphor, continue to motivate individuals to pursue their goals with passion and dedication. This makes him an enduring and inspirational figure in the world of martial arts, cinema, and personal development. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. However, do you think Bruce Lee died from cerebral edema? Leave a comment, and don't forget to watch the next video.